What if you really could transform your love life overnight? I'd be a star. What makes me able to stand up here and say I'm a relationship expert? Well, I'm a trained coach. I've written books, I do classes, but my real credential is that I've been married for 19 years, brilliantly, and to a wonderful man, but it wasn't always like that. Actually, the first 5 years of it were awful, horrible, miserable, and they were horrible in the same way all my relationships had always been. I had no self-esteem. I had absolutely no boundaries. It was as though I had been walking around with a sign on my chest saying, I take crumbs. I was the crumb-taking queen. All I knew was how to control people and try to manipulate them. Everybody in my life, everything in my life, with a very sweet, pleasant, docile sort of smile. And then I met my husband. And I didn't want him. I was used to men that didn't want me. And there he was. I was looking for crumbs, and he was offering me a whole meal. And then I married him. I got that, and I married him. And then the first 5 years were awful. We had a small child. I was anxious, sleepless, no sex, no fun. He was withdrawing. He was cold. I didn't like him very much either. And we tried couples therapy. Nothing worked. In fact, I felt angrier and more helpless when we did therapy. Then a light went on in my head. I read some books about parenting of all things, and some old books you'll never hear of. And it was like a brick hit me, actually. All of a sudden I realized it was me. I got it. I had been doing the same things, saying the same things over and over and over again, and none of them ever worked. So I tried a few things, I made a few changes, and my marriage did a 180 overnight, and I'm not kidding you. Overnight, he never knew what hit him, and I never explained it to him. And I'll teach you how to do it. And now we have really a phenomenal marriage, and people know me and know him, so I have to put my money where my mouth is. And it gets better every single day. And not only do I feel great in the relationship, I feel stronger inside myself. So, I'm going to show you some tools and techniques so you can have the relationship you want. So what if you could have all the big ticket items you really wanted, love, romance, affection, attention, commitment, without ever even asking? You can. You can be cherished and adored, and it can happen quickly. It takes a skill set, and it takes a little bit of bravery. The way it looks is this. You get to be the hero of your own passionate, magnificent, fulfilling life. And then you get to express all that passion and all those feelings and share your soul in words and body language that a man can not just hear, but which will draw him in closer instead of pushing him away. And then he'll want to be with you as much as he possibly can, on every level, as deeply as he can. You like him better. You'll be able to relax, settle back, not work so hard in the relationship. Accept all the love that he's giving you and just be. Sound like a good plan? All right, let's do a visualization. Everybody up. Give yourself some space away from the table so you can kind of feel like you're hanging out in space. Okay, if I had a magic wand and I can give you anything you want, what would the most perfect relationship look like? What would a perfect day with your perfect man in your perfect relationship feel like? Now, I want you to imagine him right in front of you. You can close your eyes or keep them open. You're Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Gorgeous, Mr. Sensitive. He's standing right in front of you. He could be the man that you're already with, or his face could be vague. But just get a feeling about him that he's incredible. In one hand, he's carrying flowers and diamonds. Yeah, on the other hand, he's reaching out to touch your face. He's about 5 feet from you. You don't get to move towards him. You don't get to do anything. Just stand there. He's coming towards you. He's stepping towards you. How does that feel? How does that feel? He's saying, "You're so beautiful. I love you. How do you feel? How many of you felt wonderful? How many of you felt just a little bit, maybe a lot scared? Vulnerable? This vulnerability, this little bit of scariness, it's what makes all of us push love away. We all do it in different ways. We are all terrified of intimacy. Every one of us. We say we're not, but we really are. We are. And we all are afraid in different ways. So I'm going to give you some tools and techniques to help you actually be vulnerable, even if it's scary, to not work so hard, to ground yourself. All right. If you do it right, you actually don't have to do anything at all. So how can this be? You don't have to do anything at all. You can all sit down now. This not doing anything at all, it's all about masculine and feminine energy. I know we've talked about that a lot today, but I'm going to clarify it in my terms, which might be a little different. Let's say that the dynamics of a great relationship, like the dynamics of great sex, are like close dancing. In order for us to dance close, at any given moment, one of us has to lead and one of us has to follow. Otherwise, we're just pushing and shoving each other all over the dance floor, fighting over who's going to lead. Does that sound familiar to you? Yeah. Okay, so if we can figure out and if we can communicate and signal to each other who's going to lead and when, then we can dance close without tripping all over ourselves. And this is what I did. If you're in a relationship that's not working, that needs some help, if I suddenly change my steps that I've been doing all this time, and you've been doing all your steps all this time, you're just going to change yours. You're just going to adjust to me. I don't even have to talk to you about it. So let's define masculine and feminine energy here. It's not about gender. It's not about being a man or about being a woman. Masculine energy is about thinking, doing, action, decision-making, planning, logistics, giving, and leading. Feminine energy is about feeling, intuiting, expressing, just being, following, and receiving. Okay? Now let's say I'm the first female president of the United States. We all have all these energies, masculine and feminine energies, and we all use them at different times. So if I'm president of the United States, I'm going to be doing a lot of masculine stuff all the time. I'm going to be thinking, I'm going to be making decisions, I'm going to be planning. Let's say, though, that is not enough for me to run the free world. I also want to run my relationship. I want to do the planning, the agendas, all the thinking in my relationship too. You know, where we're going to go for dinner, how we're going to get there, all that stuff. Well, if I'm married to a feminine energy man, we'll get along just fine. A feminine energy man who may be very powerful in his work, but in our little relationship bubble, he's happy to respect my opinions, respect my thinking, or my doing, and just sit back and himself be the sensual, relaxed, feeling, expressive part of the team. We're going to get along fine, and it's going to be very juicy. And who among you really wants that model, where you get to be the giver, the doer, the planner all the time? And he gets to be the taker and the feeler. Anybody really like that? It's exhausting. But it would work. And a lot of us are finding ourselves in those situations and we really don't want to be there. But if my man is a masculine energy man, he's not going to be happy just being thoughtful in his work. He is going to want input in the relationship. He is going to want to plan, set agendas, he's going to want to be respected for his thinking. And he's going to want a feminine energy woman in his bed, kissing him, melting in his arms, surrendering to him, and surrendering to herself in his presence. Can I do that, President of the United States? Can I switch hats, run the free world, let my husband run our relationship, give myself over to him some of the time, trust him? It depends. If I like my men masculine, yeah, I can. However, if I'm not willing to give up my boy behavior, If I still want to run the free world and my relationship and tell him the shortcut to the freeway, tell him where we're going that night, make all the place settings, he probably won't leave me, especially not if I'm president of the United States. But it won't be very juicy. It's going to be like two guys, butting heads, thinking all the time, all of us in our heads. That ever happened to you? However, if I want to run the free world and have romance, I can, yeah. I can switch hats on a dime. On a dime. That way I get everything. So let's do a little exercise here. I'm going to call this Follow the Leader. It's an old-fashioned actor's exercise. So I'm going to want you to get into twos. If you can get into the middle and to the front and to the side so you have some room, it'd be great. We're going to separate into leaders and followers, and you're going to get to switch around. Okay, the person who has short hair, you be the first leader, okay? Now, the way this looks is this. I'm going to be dancing with myself. If you're out there watching this, you can grab a friend and do it, or it actually works in your imagination if you do it in a mirror. It's all in your imagination anyway, right? Okay, everybody got a leader? Let me see the leaders. All right. Your job, stand next to each other like this so that you are mirror images of one another, as though each one of you are seeing the other as a mirror representation of yourself. But don't touch. Otherwise, it'd be too easy to follow, right? So the leader is going to move, right? You can do anything you want, move any way you want. But I want leaders to be conscientious, sensitive, considerate, thoughtful leaders. In other words, if I'm going like this, you're never going to follow me, right? Ever been with a man who leads like that? You're never going to be able to follow. So I want you to watch your follower and make sure you're being followed. Followers, your job is not to think this through, is not to try to imagine or get ahead of where your leader is going to lead you, but to kind of just go with the flow and follow. All right, go. It's hard. Don't be afraid, leaders. Get a little adventurous. Move out a little bit. Move your hands up and down. There you go. Keep moving. Leaders, move it. Be good leaders. Be strong. Be decisive. Decide what you want to do and move. That's terrific. Okay, stop. Let's switch. Leaders, you are now followers. Okay? Followers, you're now leaders. Followers, don't try to intuit what's going to happen next. Just go with the flow. Really just try and follow as best you can. All right, stop. All right. Wait, I want hands here. How many of you preferred leading? How many of you preferred leading? How many of you preferred following? How many of you want both? Yeah. That's the problem, right? Okay. You guys can come on in now. Now, if we really look honestly at what we want in a relationship and how we want our partners to be, we're going to have to say that most of us want both. We want our feelings taken care of and considered before our partners, and we want to be in charge all the time, or at least whenever we feel like it. And guess what? You can't have that. Can't have it. Doesn't work. That is the definition of wanting your feelings to come first before your partners and wanting to be in charge. That's the definition of selfish. There's a big word for it. Narcissism. Who said that? Narcissism. Yes, anybody ever been with a narcissistic man? Anybody want to do that one again? And we're like that too. We want it all too. It just looks a little different when we do it. Now, women always ask me, can I have both? And I say, yes. I have it in my marriage. I have a little trick. I wear a girl bracelet. When I'm thinking, doing, running chores, doing my checkbook, organizing my time. I'm right-handed, so I put my bracelet on my right leading hand, and then I go full bore into boy energy. When I want to just hang out with my husband and melt into his arms, or when I'm around him most of the time, actually, it's actually a very good way to do business if you want to try it. It's getting very much in vogue now. I put it on my left following hand to remind me. You cannot be a narcissist and have a close, intimate relationship. A close, intimate relationship takes one predominantly masculine energy partner and one predominantly feminine energy partner. One of each, regardless of gender or who chooses which. Otherwise, you've got a friendship. Anybody experience that with a guy? I just want to be friends? You've got a friendship. It could be a friendship with sex, but it's still just a friendship. In my marriage, it wasn't as though, I suddenly overnight turned into this soft, feminine creature, or he turned overnight into Prince Charming, which he is now, but the whole relationship felt different. It was like I was in a brand new relationship. One little shift and the whole boat moves. So how do we get started on this road to feminine energy and melting and just being? Well, I'm going to ask you to stop. Cold turkey, stop doing all that masculine energy stuff you've been doing. Not in your work, remember, President of the United States, but in your relationship. Doing all that stuff that is pushing men away. Men you meet, men in your life. So that looks like doing too much. What if you really could get more of everything by doing less? You can. So I want you to stop doing, giving, stepping in, stepping up, rescuing the evening, right? You want it to go well, rescuing it by logistics, rescuing it by rescuing the conversation when the man lets it fall. Just stop doing it all. I want you to begin to experience what it feels like to follow. When you allow yourself to actually experience in your body what it feels like to follow, you will start to draw in men who are good, kind, compassionate, and sensitive leaders. The man you're with, like mine, might just suddenly turn overnight into a good, excellent, kind, compassionate leader. I use the word over-functioning to describe all of this hard work that we're doing to lead all the time, all by ourselves. Stepping in, stepping up. How many of you are always feeling drained by your relationships? As though you're the one always rowing that relationship boat. Yeah, rowing it to shore, rowing it to the shore of commitment, to the shore of soul connection, right? Well, I'm going to ask you not to row better or smarter, but to stop rowing altogether. I want you to put those oars down and just sit back in the boat, relax, and enjoy the ride. Look at the water, look at the air, look at the birds, look at your man's face, and just wait. And if you're going nowhere, because your man is just sitting there going, when are you going to start rowing? Why don't you pick up those oars? I'm just sitting here, the guy with his hands in his pockets. You just go, I don't know. What a nice day. And just see what the heck happens. Because going nowhere feels weird. It feels uncomfortable, right? It makes us anxious. And then we step up. So the sooner you stop stepping up, you're going to feel weird and uncomfortable and anxious. And I want you to experience that. That's where you want to be. And I guarantee you, if you can experience that, how weird and uncomfortable it feels, just watch your man, expect him to pick up those oars, assume he's going to pick up those oars, he will, like magic. He'll pick up those oars and he'll start rowing. And you know what? If he's capable of it, he will. And if he's not capable of it, then you're going to find out. That's the downside of not doing anything. You're going to find out. I am very fond of talking about how we're all pushing men away by giving and doing too much, and then we're making up stuff about them and their potential, right? Oh, he'll pick up those oars. If I just do this, he'll pick up those oars. We're making it up without ever giving them a chance to step up and act like men. I like to talk about how we are all very good and very busy being cactuses. We're all very spiky. We're smart. We multitask, right? Oh, I don't need any water. I'm a cactus. I don't need any water. Oh, no, thank you. I don't need that. I'm doing fine. I can take care of everything all by myself. I'm brilliant. I'm smart. Right? Well, I want you all to become ferns. Go ahead. Put your arms out like this. I'm a fern. Say, I'm a fern. Yes, I need water. I require water. And I expect you to water me. Exactly. Now go, the water feels so good. There you go. On this water thing, you ever see those great, beautiful wooden water wheels that are in some parts of the United States? They pick up water on one side and then they drop it down on the other, and that's how it makes energy. All right, now I want you to imagine this. You have to push yourself away from the table a little bit in order to do this. I want you to imagine there's a gorgeous water wheel coming out from your chest. It's picking up all this wonderful water and nurturing and love and giving, and it's going out this way, and it's dropping all this stuff on your man and coming back to you dripping and empty. Coming back, filling up on your side, dropping on him, coming back, dripping and empty. Sound familiar? All right, go ahead and do this. Use your hands. Come on. Oh, do you like sushi? Would you like to know the shortcut? Oh, I really understand your tough childhood. Oh, would you like a massage? What would you like for dinner? Oh, don't worry about that. I'll clean up, right? Feel familiar? Lean forward. Lean your bodies forward. It's all about leaning forward. Feel familiar? Feels feminine, doesn't it? Giving. Guess what? It's not. Giving is a masculine activity. It's what men are supposed to do for us. So I want you to reverse it now. Switch the wheel. Comes back to you now. Yeah, I'll take that. Give me some water. Put it all over yourself. You just give it back to him a little bit. Comes back. Lean back in your chair now. Now, you might have noticed this forward and backwards movement I'm doing. I call this the lean back. I guarantee you, if you're sitting at dinner with a man and you're leaning forward, he's leaning back. Try it. Try it at your next meeting. When you find yourself in a situation where the guy's got his hand in his pockets and he's leaning back, lean back in your chair. I guarantee you he will lean forward. And if he doesn't, he's a feminine energy man and you don't want him. Okay, so this water wheel, I want you to keep it going. Come on, keep it going to yourself. The tricky part of this is if you're going to take all this water, you got to receive it. So I want you to go out in the world and imagine that your man is giving to you. In fact, imagine that the whole world, the whole universe is giving to you. And I want you to practice receiving. Okay? Receiving. Sometimes overfunctioning is about us wanting to be appreciated. As if doing anything is ever going to get us more love. Not going to happen. Men cannot love us just because we're doing something. Just because they appreciate us. In fact, they are usually feeling so unappreciated and so unrespected that they're never going to appreciate us. So stop. Just stop. I want you to step back and receive. I want you to start being cherished for who you are when you're just being, instead of looking to be loved for what you do. I'll say it again so you can write it down. Start being cherished for who you are when you're just being, instead of looking to be loved for what you do. Now I'm going to ask you guys, where are you overfunctioning in your relationships? If you're at home, write these down. And you guys can write this down, but I would love it if some of you would throw some stuff out. How are you overfunctioning in your daily relationships with men? Planning. Asking him out. Whoa. Meeting him. Driving to where he is. Phone calls. Calling him on the phone. Thinking about him. Obsessive thinking. Getting into his head instead of being in your own. Prompting dates. How about surfing the online websites? Looking for the guys. Cooking for him. Anybody else? How about giving him directions where you live before he's even asked? How about telling him which way to turn off the freeway so he doesn't get lost, poor fellow? There's a bunch of things like that. Okay, so most of the time, overfunctioning is about control, about us wanting to control everything. So I want to illustrate this physically again. So push yourself a little bit away from the table again. I want you to lean forward. Put your fists up in front of your face like this, right in front of your body, like you're holding on to something. All right, now I want you to imagine your man is standing right there, and what you're holding on to is him. You got his shirt in your hands. How do you think he feels? Not too good. What do you think he's doing? Relaxing. Okay, maybe. He's also maybe squirming. Yeah. All right. If you're married, or if you've been with a guy a long time, he's not going to leave you. He's going to start settling back and relaxing, or he's going to squirm, maybe bat at your hand a little bit. Anybody used to that? All right, let's call this control. Now I want you to switch. Lean back. Put your hands at your side like this. Let's call that surrender. So you're receiving in through your hand. Okay. Forward again. Clench. Control. Okay, back. Surrender. Much easier. And look what happens. Go forward again. What else is going on here? The back of your hand, you're pushing him away. It's a nice little illustration. You're pulling on him and you're pushing him. And guess what? He can't get to you. Your fists are up in front of your body. Right? Now go back like this. Your body is completely open. He can get right in. So how does that feel? Anybody feel a little vulnerable like that? Especially if you're standing next to Mr. Gorgeous? Exactly. So I want you to practice this. So I'm going to give you a little grounding exercise to do, which will help you experience what it feels like to walk around as a feeling person instead of just as a thinking person. We're all walking around in our heads all the time. This is all about being in your body and in your heart instead of in your head. Men cannot connect to us at all when we're in our heads, when we're thinking. They just can't connect to us at all. We have to be in our hearts and our bodies. Otherwise, we're just two people in our heads, the friendship and intellectual discussion. As soon as we drop into our hearts and our bodies, he will drop into his heart. Bam, we're connected. Instantly, the moment you meet, the moment you talk on the phone. So this is what I'm going to say. You cannot be in your head if you're touching an inanimate object. So everybody stand up. Okay, put your hand on the table. You're now in your body. Simple, right? Well, we don't always have a table or a chair, but we always have the floor. So let's say you're at a party. Go ahead, bam your foot into the floor. Bang. Say, I'm grounded. Now you are. Just trust that you are. Okay? Now, the goal here is what I call the reverse bonbon. Anybody know those ice cream bonbons that you get at the movie theaters? You know, they're crispy chocolate on the outside, ice cream on the inside. Well, that's us. Our defenses are on the outside because we're afraid we're mush on the inside. Right? So I want to reverse this. I want you to imagine that you've got a nice core that you can trust going on the inside. Maybe it's a steel cord. Maybe it's a flower stem going down your back and into the earth, holding you to the ground so you're not going to fly away. This way, your outside can be ice cream. so a man can reach in and touch your heart. Sometimes we don't want a man to come and reach in and touch our hearts because we're over-functioning, because we don't trust ourselves. So I'll sit down again, please. So Coach Rori Montrose says, trust your boundaries, follow your feelings, choose your words, and be surprised. It's a way of being in the reverse of this hard on the outside, soft on the inside, and letting yourself be tough and strong on the inside and soft on the outside. Okay, so trust your boundaries. What are boundaries? What if you don't have any? What if you're sure you don't have any? What if you're sure you have no self-esteem, you always choose losers, it's going to be the same as it always was? Well, I'm going to ask you to act as if you do. So in order to act as if you do have boundaries, what do boundaries look like? Beliefs? It could be a belief. Well, what would be a good boundary belief? Make one up. Treat me well. Treat me well. All right. Let's say a belief maybe is a little bit deeper than this. We're looking for rules and standards. Not my rules, not somebody else's, but yours. I'll give you some examples. Let's say a good rule might be, I won't have sex unless I'm in an exclusive relationship and marriage is on the table. Or I won't throw my pearls before swine. I won't throw myself beneath the wheels of an onrushing truck or an insensitive man. Anybody else got some good rules? We can probably make a bunch of them. They could be emotional. Like, I'm strong enough that I can handle it if my man gets angry and I'm not going to fold or fall apart. I can handle my own emotions. I can trust myself. It could be, I will not tolerate abuse of any kind. I will not tolerate neglect. I will not tolerate being dismissed. I will not tolerate not being watered. So once you have accepted the idea that you have boundaries, even if you just made them up, right? Even if you don't feel as if you do, even if you don't believe you really have these boundaries, you can still act as if you do because you have some standards and rules in place. You can kiss this guy goodnight because you know you're not going to sleep with him. You can share your feelings with a man because you know you're not going to fold up. If you just kind of put it in your brain that you can handle this, you're able to move to the next section, which is follow your feelings. Okay, following your feelings is really just tuning into your body, tuning into your heart, and asking yourself for a feeling. It could be a sensation like, I feel hot, I feel cold, I feel buzzy, I feel distracted, I feel really unhappy. Or it could be, actually that was an emotion, I feel really unhappy. I feel buzzy is a sensation, I feel unhappy would be an emotion. What other emotions? I feel, what was that? Drained. I feel drained, okay. I feel thrilled. I feel angry. I feel scared. Mad, sad, glad, afraid, that kind of thing. Devalued is tricky because then you're saying you are devaluing me. I feel unheard. I feel useless. I feel incomplete. I feel complete. That's good. These are all about feelings. Now, bottom line, why am I even talking about this stuff? Feelings. We all think men don't want us to feel. That's exactly the opposite. They don't want drama. Feelings are completely different. Because bottom line, are you showing your man the real you? Are you showing the world the real you? Or are you showing him the dukes up, defended, watchful, careful, good, kind, sweet girl that you think you should be? We all do this. We all have different ways of pushing men and love away with this outer picture. There's like sporty girl. I'm just one of the guys. You don't have to worry about me. I don't need romance, right? Or cactus girl. I can take care of that. Don't worry. Don't pick that up for me. I'm fine. Don't water me. Don't even try. I'm fine. Angry girl. How dare you? even talk to me. A lot of women just standing like this almost. Ever seen that? Like, show me. How about superior girl? What the heck you wearing? Or I'm not good enough girl. That's the big one. I'm not good enough girl. Oh, he's so beautiful, he'd never like me. I have to do something special and pretend to be poised and all that sort of stuff. Those are just defenses. They're not really you. You may believe on some level that you're not good enough, but on another level you believe you are damn good. You believe you are magnificent, and we want to tap into that. Believing that we're magnificent and makes us guilty sometimes, so there's all kinds of feelings going around, right? There's all kinds of stuff going on in there. So, I don't want to leave anything out. Over our whole lives, we've figured out how to do this kind of defensive thing. These are our defenses. These are our outer things, our fake stuff. And most of the time, they're just habits. Forget doing therapy for 20 years. They're just habits. We can take the little voice out of our head that keeps telling us all these things, put him in the corner, give him the tape that we've been running all our lives, put it in his lap, give him a cookie, and then go about having our own lives. Really. There's a lot of feelings going on in here. And most of us try and hide most of us. All of us. At least how we feel. Like we smile when we're angry. Or we act angry when really we're sad. How many of you are angry? No. Angry at any time. Angry. Yeah. We're all enraged. As women, I believe this. We are enraged deep down. We're also warm. We also have bliss and joy in there, and this soup and fear. And trying to keep from touching those things like they're ugly and bad is what makes us act sporty and cactusy and all those other things. So if we can actually touch, put our finger on, at least acknowledge anger and rage and fear and joy, we will change our lives and our love lives with them. So the opposite of pretending to be a certain way on the outside, I'm going to call it authenticity. Authenticity is being who you are on the inside. Angry, joyful, blissful, whatever it really, really is. Men love authenticity. They do not love bitches. They love women who are real. They can't love us when we're busy being perfect and put together. They love us when we're real. So once you have your boundaries, and once you've located a feeling, then we're going to move on to choosing your words. Choosing your words is sort of the core of my work. It's all about sharing your feeling state, sharing your heart, speaking from your heart, in words and body language that a man can hear and that will draw him in. It's about, instead of speaking from our heads and telling him what we think, right? What we think, or even worse, what we think of him, or what we think he should do, we just simply say how it is we're feeling in the moment. As you said, I feel angry. I feel angry instead of, you did that wrong. Right? Or how we felt the first time we ran that first 5K. Or we slid off the top of a ski slope and stood up there on top of the snow. Instead of saying, oh yeah, the powder was good, it was a great day for skiing, and there were lots of people around, and it was a great day for running, all the facts, we get to say, I felt thrilled. I felt exhilarated. I felt exhausted. I felt faint. I felt like I was flying. To speak like that is way different than how we usually talk about the relationship and about what we want, right? Usually we have an agenda. We want an outcome. We want him to do something. We want him to call us more. We want him to say he loves us. We want him to take out the garbage. And so it's all about getting him to do something in a clever way. Well, this is the complete reverse of that. It goes like, I'm unhappy with something he's done. I think about, he's a jerk, and I'd be so much better off without him. And then I get scared that I'm going to lose him as soon as I think that, right? I'm going to lose him. And then I screw up my courage, and I go up to him, and I tell him exactly what he's doing wrong, what I need, what I want, how he can give it to me, and what he's doing wrong. Then, of course, he gets defensive, right? He gets defensive, and he says stuff, and he does weird stuff, which makes us mad. And then we yell at him and say how he's not measuring up, and he doesn't hear us, and he doesn't listen to us. And then either he folds up, he wanders off to do exactly what we wanted him to do, and then we feel horrible. Or he hurts us. He slams the door, runs out. Or he dismisses us. Or he calls us drama queens. And then we're left feeling guilty and horrible and sad and like we just got beat up. Actually, we just beat ourselves up. So let's try this instead. This is going to be the feeling exercise. Go ahead and close your eyes. Okay, now, if there's a lot of chatter going on in your head, I want you to kind of put it together like it's a lead weight. Now, drop it down into your pelvis. Elevator down. Down there. All right, now I want you to open your eyes. I want you to be able to do this wherever you are. Whether you're standing with a guy, whether you're at the market, so that you can do it in little ways, when you're talking about the movies, when you're talking about dishes, things that are inconsequential that will help you learn how to do this. Breathe in and out through your heart. That'll settle down your nervous system. Now let's drop the lead weight again. Out of your head, into your pelvis. Bingo. Now relax your pelvis. Open it up. Expand. Breathe. Now ask yourself for a feeling. It can be anything. I feel silly works. Anybody want to say anything about how you're feeling exactly in this moment? I feel still. You all are very still. Another component of this is to hold yourself as still as you possibly can so that you can't, throw off all the anxiety. So it kind of has to stay in your system. Anybody got a feeling? I feel calm. Would you say that for me? I feel calm. Excellent. Anybody else got one? I feel relief, did you say, or peace? Peace. How about I say, I feel peaceful? Excellent. That was great. Look at all the good feelings that came up. Sometimes you surprise yourself. Anybody else? I feel centered. Wow. Do you believe you can talk to a man like this? Anybody have an idea about what it'd be like to actually talk to a man like this? Does it feel scary? Does it feel weird? Of course, all you get to say is, I feel peaceful, or I feel angry. You don't get to say, I feel angry because you did that wrong. All right, so that is all about feelings. This enables us to move on to number 4, which is be surprised. All be surprised is you get to let go of control. You actually put the oars down. In other words, what happens after you share your feelings? I feel peaceful, I feel angry, I feel calm, I feel disappointed, I feel disconnected. Whatever he says or does after that is absolutely none of your business. You don't get to follow it up. You don't get to comment on it. You don't get to do anything. You get to give up control. You get to lean back. Go ahead, put your hands by your sides. And you get to say, I feel calm. He will say something. He might say, oh, honey, how nice. If you say, I feel angry, at first he might go, well, you're such a drama queen because he's used to it. But I guarantee you, within a day of him feeling the relief of you no longer telling him how he's doing it wrong, he will go, oh, what's pissing you off? And you will be so surprised You want to go back to your old patterns. Well, when you did that, da, 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 da. No, you get to go, oh, thank you for listening. That feels great. Because that's what's going to happen in the moment. You're going to go, whoa. So this is how you express your feelings, turn yourself into a fern, turn your man into a great gardener, embody feminine energy that's magnetic and will bring men to you, all by just simply expressing how you feel. So it sounds simple. All you have to do is express how you feel. But actually, it's no less than demolishing your entire defense system down to the ground. So you want to do it in baby steps. And these tools are like little baby steps, except you're going to be shocked at how quickly they work. Men turn around on a dime. You may have been beating him up and telling him how wrong he's been for a long, long time. And the day you let up, he's there. He wants to be there. It happened quickly. So baby steps, a little bit at a time, and you will get such amazing results. You'll feel inspired to keep going and keep trying the tools and keep working on them. We all say that we would give anything for love. And yet, most of the time, we're really just pushing it away. So try the tools, see how they work, see how quickly they bring men to you. And I want to thank you. You were so brave. To get more relationship advice, check out this video next.